Morning, everybody, again. It's everybody ready? So, whilst the last participants get ready, I'm going to repeat the announcements from earlier. Perdonad, estoy hablando en inglés, ya no sé en qué idioma hablo, disculpa.
Sorry, I was speaking in English. Please apologize, translators. While we come back to the room, I'm going to repeat the announcements that we made. First of all, if there is someone participating and wants to be part of the dinner tonight, please talk to the secretariat and see how many people come. If you have decided to come, please take the castanets that are very important for the dinner. And if you haven't received the castanets, you will have to speak about the secretariat or to use them tonight. Please don't forget them at home. If you are staying after the conference and you want to be part of the dinner for Wednesday, it will take place close to the cathedral, and the menu will be around 15-20 minutes. If you have special preferences, please let us know. On Thursday, we are planning a visit to the Atapuerca sites, if you want to come, and to the San Pedro de Cardeña Monastery. We have a minibus for everybody, and if you want to be part, please let us know. The price will be around 60 euros, depending on the number of people who comes and the tickets, etc. So Placidia is, gathering all the information with the list of people. So please go with her and decide if you want to participate. Now I'm going to introduce next presentation that is going to be delivered by Mohamed Nader, and who's going to connect from Dubai. He has a recording of the Phoenix project, a project that is helping implementing Section 1 of One Welfare framework, and it's about the interconnection between abuse and negligence in humans and animals, so between human and animals. This is about 4 groups and has gathered around 30 people. We, in fact, are working in the whole world and cooperating with other colleagues in this very important topic. Mohamed works for the official services of inspection in Dubai, and he's an expert in wild fauna and animals, has a wide experience in animal welfare. He's a very enthusiastic person, as you will see in his presentation, which is going to be about the last news of this project. So please, here we have the recording of our colleague, Mohamed.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to the 4th One Welfare World Conference. I am Dr. Mohamed Nader, Egyptian and wildlife conservationist and animal welfare expert. It's my pleasure to introduce and present the One Welfare Conference project. So what I want to talk with you in these few minutes, it's about our One Welfare approach, and to talk about the Phoenix project, which is a part of what I am doing right now. Together with our work team, and we have been having different experiences in our working groups, and we will try to explain them as well. We need to know more about what is this One Welfare approach. One Welfare is a framework to improve animal welfare and human well-being. It is an approach that describes interrelationships between animal welfare, human well-being, and the physical and social environment. One Welfare serves to highlight the interconnections between animal welfare, human well-being, and the environment. It fosters transdisciplinary collaboration to improve human and animal welfare internationally. Also helps to promote key global objectives, such as supporting food security, sustainability, reducing human suffering, and improving productivity within the farming sector through a better understanding of the value of high welfare standards. One Welfare also extends the approach and partially overlaps the One Health themes used for human and animal health. A One Welfare approach promotes the direct and indirect links of animal welfare to human welfare and environmentally friendly animal keeping systems. Also, increasing education and awareness will help to establish different ways of working and improve efficiency within local and global networks of those working in animal welfare, human well-being, and environment issues. That's why in this One Welfare approach, we have 3 different working dimensions. And in each of these dimensions, there are different working groups or different topics that affect at a different level human well-being, animal welfare, and the environment protection. As you can see in the One Welfare umbrella, there are different projects. So, lines where we have been working protecting animals from human abuse and neglect, and how all of these different topics can connect it. Then we also have homelessness and all of the different diseases, psychopathological issues, safety, crime, violence in the society, how this affects not only humans but also animals. There is also projects on prisons, for example, to rehabilitate humans by using animal connection. There is also topics surrounding sustainability as well as food safety, the production of food chains and food production, and the living conditions of the people that take care of livestock farms. One Welfare Framework. The One Welfare Framework encompasses 5 distinct sections that aim to bring together professionals of different disciplines for the benefit of animal welfare, human well-being, the environment, and overall our society and the world we live in. Section 1, talking about the connections between animal and human abuse and neglect. Section 2, talking about the social implications of improved animal welfare. Section 3, talking about the animal health and welfare, human well-being, food security, and sustainability. And Section 4, talking about assisted interventions involving animals, humans, and environment. The last one, Section 5, talking about sustainability, connections between biodiversity, the animal, and also the environment, and animal welfare and human well-being. What is link? Animal abuse, cruelty, and neglect are often considered isolated incidents which hold separated from other forms of family violence. Today, professionals involved with victims of family violence are not surprised when they learn that often these acts are linked and that various agencies are working with the same families. They no longer excuse animal cruelty as boys will be boys, or it was only a cat. Instead, they see animal abuse as a sentinel indicator, the tip of the iceberg, and often the first sign of other family and community violence. Intentional abuse. Intentional abuse in any form should be taken seriously, knowing that there is a link. Agencies involved in preventing family violence need to work together for more effective species-spanning response, because when animals are abused, people are at risk. And also, when people are abused, animals are at risk. Animal abuse. So, what are the effects of animal abuse? In addition to causing pain and also causing suffering to the animals, animal abuse can be a sentinel, indicator, and predictor, one of the earliest red flag warning signs of concurrent or future violence acts. Abusers and impressionable children who witness or perpetrate abuse become desensitized to violence and the ability to empathize with victims. Abuse is often cyclical and intergenerational. The earlier professionals can intervene to break the cycles of violence, the higher of the rate of success. One Welfare Project. Our One Welfare Phonics project is designed to support and also to sustainable development goals and the global reduction of violence by supporting the production and dissemination of practical guides to professionals to help identify and report the link between animal and human abuse and neglect, including the relation to their environment. Designed to bring together collective expertise across the world to develop global free access guidance for veterinary or medical and social services professionals as well as the public on the Section 1 of the One Welfare Framework. The link between animal and human abuse and neglect, providing a flexible space for local contacts to be built into the guidance by local group. So why a phonics? Why we choose a phonics as a symbol? Phonics in ancient Egypt is a fantastic bird associated with sun worship. The Egyptians associated with the phonics with the immortality. The phonics bird was compared to the undying Roma and appears on the coins in the late Roman Empire as a symbol of the eternal city. Our founder, Dr. Garcia, was inspired by the deep symbolic significance and the beauty of this bird, power and inner strength of the phonics bird emerging from the fire and the ashes, magnificence and strength. One Welfare Phonics Group. One Welfare Phonics working groups. These groups in the phonics project consisted of 4 groups, with each group responsible for a research thesis related to animals, species they converted, and their concept in the links between animal and human abuse and neglect. Each group is headed by 2 team leaders, and within them are subgroups whose job is to assist the group leaders in the reviewing the evidence and working on preparing an initial summary of the content of the research paper content to be presented in board of directors meeting. The team leaders meet with their subgroup at least once every 2 or 3 months. Plus, the team leaders also for each group, which called Phonics Board Committee, attend for another meeting with our co-founder, Dr. Rebecca, every 3 months to discuss what has been accomplished in each group and develop a future vision for when the research paper will be completed. In addition, all those research papers will feed into a broader project to globally reduce violence and disseminate guidelines to help the professionals identify and report the link between animal and human and environmental abuse and neglect, and aim at anyone interested in this topic. These 4 groups are working animals, and the leaders for this group are Andrew Morrison and Jelly Mendes Ferreira. Companionship group, and the leader for this group is Evelyn Sigrido, and we are looking for another leader with Evelyn as Adil had resigned. The third one group called Farming Group, and the leaders of this group are Joy Perry and Marisa Rasmus. The last one group is called Free Roaming Group, and the leaders of this group are me and Dr. Rodrigo Nova. One Welfare Phonics key objectives. The key objectives of this project is to facilitate the exchange and publication and dissemination of the information articles experience, best practice in the area of animal and human abuse and neglect, including as well as possibility of creating clinical guidelines as well as general review that will make it possible to identify when available the connections between human well-being, animal welfare, and the environment at a different level. Although this project supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal targets, such as, if we can see the goal number 3, talking about the strengthening the prevention and the treatment of substance abuse, and also goal number 5, talking about eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, as well as the goal number 16, talking about target to significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. The last goal, number 17, enhance international support for implementing effective and targeted capacity building in developing countries to support national plans to implement all the sustainable development goals. So, K of project outcome. K project outcome, it's for develop global free access guidance and suitable for animal welfare, scientists, veterinary professionals, and postgraduate students, medical professionals, or social services professionals, and also for the public. We have been working with different species, trying to understand this connection between these 3-dimensional abuse and violence, and our work on the clinical guideline in order to be able to identify the problem and act upon it. What are we covering well? We are working on specific areas where we are trying to see, for example, how can we see everything in a different way. We are working on companion animals, working animals, and those that are part of the wildlife. But what have been the results? So what have been the outcomes that we expect to achieve well? We want to all create specifically guidelines and guidebooks that will have a free access and will help veterinary professionals, doctors, as well as the professionals, those that work in social services, that will also have to deal with these kinds of services. So that anyone could understand the information. This will be training tools in order to disseminate information that we have on one welfare and the connection between the violence, and we can see both in humans and the animals' dimensions. It is something new, very innovative. At the event guard, we are trying to assess the information we have on violence and abuse and neglect, and the animals and the humans trying to achieve an executive comprehensive review of all the information that we have to create these guidebooks, these guidelines also that will help those that will be part of the community. So work to date. We have 4 working groups: working animals, companionship, farming groups, and free roaming. They are defining their scope, reviewing the key research questions, and also identifying key board lists, and undertaking a literature review search. In addition, the free roaming group, they drafted a questionnaire survey about feral cats and the challenges of implementing animal welfare. This research will cover areas such as India, Egypt, Tunisia, Colombia, and some countries in Europe. For workshops through One Welfare Forex project, Dr. Rebecca Garcia and Jelly Ferreira did workshop delivered in UK at ISA's conference in last June 2023. Another workshop held at Universidad Internacional de Andalucía in Spain. Our founder, Dr. Rebecca, participated for UNI Master's course on management and conservation of species and trade at Baeza Jaén in Spain on last September 2023. For opportunities, nowadays we have 4 opportunities. You can say we have a great offer for the attendees of the 4th One Welfare Conference. First one for working groups, and second one for advisory board, with expression of interest to join the advisory board coming up in 2024, next year, and workshops we seeking for a workshop program coordination leader could be done by an internship or postdoc interested in this opportunity should have PhD holder, and collaboration with other organizations interested in the interconnection between animal and human abuse and neglect. For the working groups positions, literature reviewer for working groups, this position it's an internship opportunity. It's a volunteering internship, and the application for this internship opened from February 2023. We put out a call for further application through One Welfare website. You can submit your solution. The volunteer will provide literature reviews on the topics identified by the working groups. The workload and time commitment will be agreed between the volunteer and the working group leaders on an individual basis. The expectation is that the time commitment will usually involve around 10 hours per month in order to support meaningful progress. So, we must work to improve animal welfare. No need to see animals are being surrendered to entities very young to survive or sick. Animals are not a commodity to be bought or sold. Animals are sentient creatures who feel emotions, who feel pain, and also feel suffering. Let us sympathize with you greatly towards the issue of animal welfare, as animal welfare need more efforts in order to save the lives of all innocent souls. We are a compassionate, empathetic, and caring nation. I believe in transparency, respect, and compassion for all souls to protect the sustainability of our future generations. I hope we continue to work to protect our planet and all animals lives on it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you.
Bueno, agradecemos mucho a Mohamed la
Thank you, Mohamed, for the excellent presentation and description of the One Welfare Phoenix project. And I invite you to contact me or him by email or other means if you are interested. I'm going to introduce next speaker, Amelia Garcia and Virginia Resconi. Amelia is part of the organizing committee of this conference and has been working really hard together with us to make this conference possible. America has coordinated the scientific part of the conference, and if you are a part of the scientific committee, must have an idea about her work. She's a professor at the Nottingham University and now teaches a module about research on One Health and One Welfare framework. She is going to be soon a specialist and expert in veterinary health. And within her professional career, she has studied animal welfare and food security, especially from the perspective of social ideas. We have Virginia Resconi now too, who is a researcher of the University of Zaragoza, and now she's the leader of the master's program on global health within the Zaragoza University. Together with Irene, they teach one welfare module and also coordinates welfare topics in at the university. Sorry. Thank you.
Great. Can I just check if it works well? Yeah. Okay. Hi. Good morning, and thank you very much for coming. The ones that made it in person, the ones that are online. It's really an honor to be here. And I'm just going to give 5 minutes because we are already quite late in the presentations. So it's a very brief overview of this challenge, tournament. You can decide which name is better for you, and how it all started and the outcomes of it. So it's very similar to what Mohamed have said, gave you opportunities. I'm going to give you another opportunity to get involved in One Welfare and made this a reality rather than just a conversation. So the Awesome Universities Tournament stands for One Welfare Slam Universities Tournament, and it all started sometime last year, I suppose, in June 2022, when Rebecca contacted Virginia and me separately. I think we knew each other from different projects, but we have not met, like Virginia and I have not met before, but you cannot say no to Rebecca because she is 90% of the times right. and her ideas are always very innovative, very, very good, and she's very clever and knows how to do things properly. So she said, I want to showcase the research that is already going on in the universities and encourage those researchers to showcase what they are doing. It's amazing. Why doesn't the world know about all of this? So I thought, well, that's brilliant. That's what we all want. We want some evidence that this happens and is measured. So the two only conditions were that the researchers had to be postgraduates and that they were doing research on One Welfare, so they were doing something that took into account the humans, the animals that worked with them or lived with them, and the environment, the physical or the social environment that they were living in, and how this was interconnected, and they had to measure it somehow. So we were saying before, what's the key of implementing this? For me, one of the keys is evidencing it, and I suppose the other key is knowing how to sell it. So the other thing is that the presentations had to be engaging. So what we did is, okay, now we agreed. We had to ask permission to our universities, and both of them were very supportive, so I'm really thankful to my line managers for that. And then we met, right? We had an initial meeting with Virginia, Rebecca, and myself, deciding what is going to be the template, how long are the presentations going to be, and what is that we want to see, how are we going to judge. So we decided we are going to judge them on novelty, engaging, and the quality of the research. And then we set some deadlines, right? I love deadlines because otherwise I don't do anything. So we said, okay, by the end of December, we have to have the submissions, then we take a decision over Christmas, and then maximum by the end of January, we tell the students if we have chosen their projects or not, and then they have some time to prepare the presentations, and then we do the judgment. So what are the problems that we found? I think in both universities, we both teach undergraduate students, and we are very used to speak with them and know which are the best channels. But for postgraduates, it was a lot more difficult to find them. And I also found out that we cannot send them unlimited number of emails, so we were allowed only to email them once, and as a favor, twice. And then the solution for next time, I suppose from my part, will be to use more the social media and to find another team member to help me with that, that is a postgraduate student that knows those channels. And with that, I think we will get a lot more engagement in this project. The other thing that was a challenge for us is to find people from outside the vet schools. One Welfare has never been a vet-only thing. That's not the point at all. But we are all, the three of us were vets, so our networks are inundated with vets and not so much from other disciplines. And that was a challenge also for Nottingham. The vet school is a bit separated from the others. The campus is not in the same campus as medicine or computer science, for example. And then once we had all the projects, because there were not so many, we thought, okay, there is going to be much nicer if we join together. And it was really nice, but we had to find bilingual judges, which was, I thought initially was going to be a challenge of more of my time to dedicate to this, but actually they were super nice. It was easy enough to find them, and they were all super positive from computer science, geography, biosciences. Everyone I asked replied immediately, and some of them were on holidays, but they loved the project. And I underestimated the time. That always happens with all the projects, so that's why I would like to have some help in the future with a postgraduate student. The positives is that I did find lots of amazing projects, amazing students. Virginia is also great to work with, super easy going. All the judges, as I said, it was really, really a positive thing for me, is to expand my network within the University of Nottingham and outside the University of Nottingham. And we did get students from other schools, which I think was the biggest of the successes. And I suppose the main point is, if I had to do it again, would I do it again? And the answer with no question is a yes. So I will do it again, I suppose, in 2 years' time for the next conference. But if anyone from the audience works in academia, I would really encourage them to speak with us or to email One Welfare, and we will be more than happy to help and to try to replicate it with other schools. My advice is, if you do it joined with other schools, it's much easier if you all speak the same language, but other than that, it's all fantastic. So the outcome were these 3 amazing projects that I'm not going to talk about because we have the speakers, 2 of the winners here. The ones that did not win did have also really interesting projects, and I really hope that it goes super well with them and they can publish a lot of research. And I just wanted to thank the sponsor, because without the sponsor we wouldn't have the prizes that we got in the end, and of course our universities for supporting us, and One Welfare for having this magnificent idea. And I will leave Virginia now in case you need to say anything else or if you want to introduce the participants. Thank you.
Hola. Sí. Primero.
First of all, I'd like to say that I am very happy with the experience of this contest, and that it was very nice to receive the proposal by Rebecca and to coordinate with Amelia this good initiative. I agree with what my colleague has already said, and I also think that it is very important that science is spread. Sometimes we just have scientific papers and people do not really understand what it is behind this written information. This initiative is also important because the students have played a very important role. They have faced their fears and they have learned to communicate not just in a scientific way, but also with a language that everybody can understand. Now I'm going to give the floor to the winners of this contest. Are we going to play a video? Yes. In the first place, the first award is the one that you see here. They are students from the University of Zaragoza and Nottingham, the University of Nottingham, but they are quite related with the country of Colombia. The winner has been Adriana Pastrana, who is a doctorate student from the University of Zaragoza, and we are going to see her presentation in the video. Good morning. Today I want to show the results of our study with different types of slaughterhouses in pigs in Colombia and the human-animal bond. We can say that professionals working in slaughterhouses play an important role in the meat industry, both in terms of production and in the human bond, in the human-animal bond or interaction. As a way of introduction, we need to know that working conditions in slaughterhouses are not very favorable. These includes demanding timetables, contact with death, and inadequate salaries, among others, and can generate emotional and physical stress in workers, which can also lead to bad behaviors for animal care and also affect animal welfare directly. However, the interaction between humans and animals in the context of slaughterhouses is still limited. Therefore, the objective of this study is the identification of the different profiles of workers in slaughterhouses based on their attitude towards the animals and including aspects such as their degree of satisfaction with their work, socio-demographic characteristics, and pig handling during slaughter and pre-slaughter processes. But what do we mean by slaughter and pre-slaughter processes? These are the processes that take place before the animal dies and during the last stage of their lives. This includes loading animals in vehicles in farms or primary production centers. It also includes their transport and unloading them in the slaughterhouses. Also, their identification and weighing once they are in the slaughterhouse. Also, driving them in vehicles and waiting in holding pens, washing them and taking them to the slaughter premises. It also includes desensitizing and bleeding processes. As a methodology, we used a survey. We interviewed 171 workers of 12 pig slaughterhouses in the center-western region of Colombia. We classified the profiles according to a factor analysis and a hierarchical classification of socio-demographic characteristics, animal handling, and the perception of workers towards the human-animal interaction in slaughterhouses and their satisfaction with their life conditions. We found that more than 90% of the interviewed were men with basic education studies. More than 50% of them were between 18 and 30 years of age. And more than 70% of them had less than 7 years of experience in slaughterhouses. The factor analysis identified 4 attitudes of workers towards their perception of the human-animal bond. In our study, they are called friendliness, aversion, cruelty, and self-confidence in the personal skills, as you can see on the chart. This means that human-animal interaction in slaughterhouses is a multifactorial relationship. With the cluster, we identified 4 profiles, and this is referred as a hierarchy cluster. as you can see also on the slide. The first profile is referred as to insecure and careless workers. The second is for secure and thoughtful workers. The third profile is about insecure but thoughtful workers. And the fourth one, secure but careless workers. The first profile included workers that have a mechanical way of handling animals. The second includes workers who are committed with the animals and their work. The third profile includes workers who are emotionally close to animals, and the fourth one includes workers that show apathy towards animals and towards their job. We can conclude that animal-human bond is influenced by the level of friendliness of workers towards animals. We can call it friendliness or emotional closeness, and also by the level of the workers' satisfaction with their jobs. It is also necessary to include the one welfare perspective and create working environments and conditions in slaughterhouses that promote more friendly attitudes and behaviors towards animals. We can therefore provide animal welfare because workers will think that their work is efficient and productive. It is also important because this will provide safe meat products for consumption. We will also improve human welfare, animal welfare, and the physical and social environment of both. The industry will then have to identify working practices that have a positive or a negative impact in the human-animal interaction. The academia will have to train people to improve the relationship between human and pigs in slaughterhouses, taking into account differences among the different workers. Future investigations of human-animal interaction should focus on the mitigation of specific attitudes such as cruelty, negative attitudes, and lack of confidence in animal handling. This study was recently published in the journal Mid-Science. It is open for everybody to review it. Thank you very much. And I hope that you still or continue enjoying the contents of this conference.
Bueno, pues si les parece.
We are going to have the three presentations, and then if we have time, we will have a Q&A session. Next work is by Jessica Burridge, a student of the University of Nottingham.
Online. If you want to start asking questions in the chat, you can, and then we'll choose a couple of them if we have time to, and the speakers can respond to them.
Do you want me to take the...
Yes, of course.
Right, so hi, I'm Jess. I'm from the University of Nottingham, and today I want to talk to you about the factors that influence working equid welfare. So the term working equid refers to the donkeys, mules and horses that contribute to the daily livelihoods of their owners and the wider communities. So they do this through a range of activities, including tourism, agricultural support, brick kiln work, and personal transport. The relationship between the owner and the equid is really important, with the equid relying on their owner for survival and the owner relying on their equid for general livelihood satisfaction and financial stability. So for this study, we wanted to look into this relationship between equid and owner and look at the factors that are influencing the welfare of working equids along with the livelihoods of their owners. So we carried out a total of 24 focus groups across 8 regions in Colombia, and we wanted to gain a range of perceptions from different stakeholders. So our focus groups were split into working equid owners, community leadership figures, and then women separately. All focus groups are carried out by an in-country team using a loosely structured narrative script, and a mixture of inductive and deductive thematic analysis was used. During visual mapping, we identified the COM-B model, which actually ends up as a framework throughout this research. So thematic analysis identified 3 overarching themes. So these were capabilities, opportunities, motivation, and the horse-human relationship. So capabilities, opportunities, and motivation make up the COM-B model. And these 4 themes together determine owner behaviour and decision-making, which ultimately impacts the welfare of their animals. So the COM-B model of behaviour is an example of a behaviour change framework. So these are used to help explore behaviour patterns, and they're quite frequently seen within the human health setting, and we are starting to see them more frequently within an animal welfare and health setting too. So the COM-B model states that in order for any behaviour to occur, an individual must have the appropriate capabilities, opportunities, and motivation. So capabilities refers to the physical and psychological abilities of an individual and includes things like knowledge and memory, strength, skills, and stamina. Then your opportunities are split into both your physical and your social opportunities and includes time, location, resources, finances, and cultural and social norms. So your capabilities along with your opportunities help us to identify how feasible a behaviour may be, but regardless of how feasible a behaviour is, an individual must have the appropriate motivation for it actually to be carried out. So the COM-B model explains motivation in terms of reflective and autonomic, and this includes making plans, understanding consequences, desires, impulses, and inhibitions. So these made up 3 of the 4 themes, so we'll go back to the themes. So the first back was capabilities. So inappropriate equine care was quite often attributed to a lack of owner knowledge. So key areas that lacked fundamental understanding included nutrition, vaccination, for equid first aid, and general husbandry techniques. And then along with a lack of understanding, misinformation was quite often seen, and it can show how external perceptions and previous experiences can lead to some maybe more damaging practices, unfortunately. And in addition to this, we also found that physical skill set was also lacking. This was mostly commented on by community leaders rather than the owners themselves, and was particularly highlighted for handling of mules. And then we have opportunities. So the 2 biggest ones that we came across were financial aspect and the access to professional services. So across Colombia, you have agrovet stores, which you can see in these videos, where you can purchase a huge range of drugs, horseshoes, and whatever you want without a prescription. However, physically accessing these stores for owners is really challenging, let alone accessing actual veterinary care. Many of these owners live really rurally, and it would take a long time for them to be able to access any vets. And then additionally to this, a lot of owners struggle financially, and so the financial implications were quite large. And then we moved on to motivation. So we found that there were 3 different perceptions of why an owner might have the motivation to provide care. So the first, which was mostly seen amongst community leaders, perceived that owners did not care, and they didn't think of their equids as sentient, and they believed that they were a vehicle, and so they wouldn't provide any appropriate care. The second one reflected on that important link between an equid's working ability and the financial income it's able to derive, and owners were able to understand that they must provide the care in order for their equid to work, and so that motivated them to provide them with what they needed. And then the final one was a genuine love for these animals. This was seen frequently throughout owners' focus groups, with many of them expressing that they felt their animals were a member of the family and that the care of them was a priority. And then in addition to motivation, we added the horse-human relationship, as this was seen across focus groups. And it adds a level of complexity to the COM-B model that isn't seen in other aspects of behaviour. And By including the horse-human relationship, you can see how the relationship between animal and owner is so vital, which is highlighted by the One Welfare approach. So regardless of the external factors that influence these animals, which I think I'll talk about briefly tomorrow, ultimately it's down to the owners to decide how they care for them. And so they are determining the welfare status of their owners. And so if we can start to map the bigger picture of these working equid communities and working out every little bit that's going into the decisions that are being made, it can help us to understand how we can provide better support for these animals and their owners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Muchas gracias. Pues ahora vamos a mostrar.
And now we'll see the final video from Laura Estevez. She comes from the Zaragoza University.
Buenos días.
Good morning, I'm Laura Estevez from the University of Zaragoza, and we have developed this compared analysis of the animal functions in rural life and animal-farmer bond in two high mountain communities of Mexico and Ecuador. The study was developed because livestock farming is a key element for people living in the high mountain communities of Latin America, also because human-animal interaction in these regions are also significant. Our objective was to describe the roles that farm animals play in their lives, and the human-animal bond in two rural high mountain communities of Mexico and Ecuador. The two communities are as follows: Ejido Ojo de Agua, Mexico, and Parroquia Honorato Vázquez in Ecuador. These are mountain areas over 3,000 meters above sea level. We used a non-probabilistic sample, snowball sampling, with a survey to people of legal age on 3 questions about animals in households, the roles of the animals, and the animal-human bond. The analysis was based on each of the household and interviewed people. We grouped our findings according to their gender and country of interviewed people. We developed our interviews in 142 households in the 2 countries, and we found that households have different structures. In the houses of Mexico, we found sheep and chickens and horses, and in Ecuador we found cows, oxen, and poultry. In terms of the livestock component of households, in Ecuador there is more diversification. 8% of the interviewed people reported to have 1 or 2 farm species, while this is the case in 72% of Mexican households. In Ecuador, the situation is different. With regards to the roles that animals play in rural lives, we identified a great variety of possibilities. One of them is the sale of animals for different objectives and different tasks beyond just covering expenses. Another is the work that animals develop in farms, and another group is related to self-consumption. Other people use animals to obtain compost. The conclusion is that animals play different roles in different households, but with regards to the main roles animals play, some species like chickens, we have identified that this main role is common in both countries: self-consumption in the case of chickens and the sale of milk in the case of cows. There are other animals that play different roles depending on the objectives of each household. In the case of sheep, they are used to cover expenses in some occasions. However, Guinea pigs are more associated with frequent expenses of families. Pigs play a combination of roles. With regards to the role that dogs play, we obtained information related to their role as animals, related to production, and also as a pet. People reported that dogs take care of the house, that they are a member of the family, that they can work as shepherds or animals that accompany or go with people to hunt. When asked about why people have dogs, farmers gave more than one answer in general. Trying to understand the feelings of farmers towards their animals, we asked them which animal they loved more. In both countries, they said that it was the dog, followed by the most common ruminant animal in its place, and other animals like horses or chickens in Mexico and pigs in Ecuador. Asked about the reasons why they loved their animals, for production animals, they highlighted the money they obtained from the sale of them. They also mentioned the importance of self-consumption. Different animals help farmers in different tasks, and others, mainly the dog, take care of the house. Horses and dogs also provide company and provide love to people. And they take care of them. Also, cows were mentioned to offer love. Additionally, interviewed people ranked the following sentences according to a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is full agreement and 1 is full disagreement and 5 full agreement. There were 2 statements ranked in a 2 to 10 scales. In most of the statements related to the recognition of emotions of animal, the score was 5 or 10. However, the dispersion of data is low. There were other statements with high scores, and these are the following, like I love an animal which is not a pet, or the animals that I eat have less emotions than a dog or a cat. Interviewed people did not agree that people in cities love animals more than people in the countryside. There are some statements with significantly different scores in the 2 countries, as it is the case of animals we eat can be loved as a pet or more. The median score in both cases was 5. However, the dispersion of data in Ecuador is higher as per the IQR. With regards to the importance of animals for farmers, women and men agree, but men have a higher dispersion of data. As a way of conclusion, finally, I have to say that this study shows that there are some cross-sectional elements in farm communities of both countries that go beyond the differences between the countries. These elements are the multifactorial role of livestock for farmers, the existence of emotional bonds of humans with their animals, influenced by the roles animals play in their lives and in their households. And that these emotions lead to an interest in animals' welfare and in the houses, in the households. So the roles animals play have to do with the emotions and the welfare of animals. Many thanks.
¿Hay alguna pregunta?
Is there any question from the audience?
That I can see so far. But thank you to the 3 of you. I think they are really, really nice presentations. I think they evidence more than there is nothing about pets and owners only, is animals and humans and the environment, and it doesn't matter which animals, as long as they live with us, we will have an interconnection. So for Adriana, I wanted to ask you, and I don't know, maybe I can just switch into Spanish. Para the result.
With regards to the result of your project, do you think that is, going forward, or that you will found workers having a better relationship with the specific animals, or you found workers who were not compassionate? Or do you have any ideas to improve their practices, or to teach them, to show them what to do in the slaughterhouses? I think that this is, or my project is a big project, but the idea is to continue educating people so that the staff in slaughterhouses can be selected in the different jobs and match their expectations with the positive actions that we need in animals, so we can select them better, and then we can train them in their work so that they can be more friendly with animals. So this is just the starting point of a big educational project. I don't see whether there are questions. I cannot see the people from the audience, but if not, I will continue asking, because I am interested in slaughterhouses especially. How did you manage to include slaughterhouses, to have them participate in the study? I am fortunate enough to work in Colombia with people related to slaughterhouses and the swine sector. And of course, I had to obtain a license and authorization by the slaughterhouses. But the communication with them was very easy. You have to speak their language. You have to be friendly with them. And the truth is that I had to talk with them, to read the questions, and to help them answering the questions. There are many people with a basic level of studies, but the relationship that we had with them was quite friendly, and this, made the communication easier. Any of them denied to participate, and I was quite fortunate. I don't know whether this is the situation in each of the slaughterhouses, but since I'm familiar with them, I had a previous link with this area, with this world, and it was much easier for me. Is there any other question? Virginia, do you have a question? It's a general question for both of you. And it's about the experience in the contest. Was it easy to find the information? Did you, have difficulties to decide? Or any experience that you had in the context would be welcome to, continue with the initiative. If you can just add an idea or something that we can improve, it will be great.
Enjoyed it. I think it was really interesting for me to hear research from a variety of different people. A lot of the previous conferences that I've been to have mainly been focused on equines, and so being able to hear about research that's going on beyond that was really, really good. I found everything was really easy as well to participate in. I didn't have any problems. So yeah. Thank you.
Bueno, para mí también fue igual, pues, digamos.
For me, the same. I was very lucky because I had Dr. Genaro Miranda and Laura Estevez. They invited me to participate, and thanks to them, with them, we managed to get this project on. And the instruction, the methodology, everything was very easy to understand and to follow. So, yes, I will motivate anyone to do the same because it's a great experience, I have to say. I have a question from the online public. Rachel Naus. I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly. Sorry about that, Rachel.
process of investigating these sites. I don't know if she refers just to the abattoirs or the abattoirs and the farms. Do you feel that by process of investigating these sites, you informed or influenced them towards a better animal care?
Yo creo que sí, que ayuda.
Yes, I do. If I understood the question correctly, I would say yes. I think that this kind of research actually improve. Well, first of all, it helps us as vets, but also in the academia, it helps us to continue with the process of interconnection between human and animal welfare, but also adding the environment in the mix. And because in abattoirs, slaughterhouses, it's so fundamental to understand the relationship with the public health. And through this research, we also understood how the adequate handling of the people working in these slaughterhouses. This is a group of people that tend to be forgotten, but these are difficult working conditions. And it's technically left on the side, but it's actually key. So yeah, I think it's productive, this kind of research, to strengthen many aspects. Amelia, I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I know you can't see me, that's why I took the liberty of speaking out, sorry. Voice from the darkness. Thank you so much, Courtney Price from FAO. My question is for Adriana in particular. I really appreciated your points around the environment and the working conditions, and you made there several times in several of the presentations there was a discussion about talking about changing the environment or the context, even physical, that would prompt more welfare-related or conducive behaviors. Did you see examples in which the slaughterhouses or other areas were modified to try to motivate or influence or nudge welfare and appropriate behaviors and good treatment of animals? Or is this just a theoretical idea so far? I'd love to know practical examples where you saw even a poster on the wall or a change of process flow or use of colors or anything visual. We'd be very curious to know if you saw any of that or see opportunities for research in that area. Thank you.
Well, not yet. It's a process, a long one, because unfortunately everything requires money. And for the managers of any industry, but slaughterhouses in particular, benefits and money, which is not only money, but in the end, it is money. It's a cost or an investment, but they don't tend to call it investment. They only call it expenses or costs. So I think one education will play a key role here, because that education should start at that management level so that they, from up there, could create a new motivation for the people working there to improve how they handle animals and everything along the way.
Courtney, and I have seen some really lovely practices that have been done just for the welfare of the staff and just for the welfare of the animals, like, I don't know, adding music in the lairage for the cows, or reducing the noise, or adding the brushes, and for the staff, giving them free coffee or free breakfast. It just increases and makes the mood of all the staff, including the managers, much better, and that has to be productive. But it's true that I think there is still a lack of data to measure that economical benefit that is somehow intangible. Abdel?
Una cosa.
Just one question. Oh.
With Abdel Kader from UNEP. Just question is, are the farmers or the animal holders willing to contribute, to pay, to use the slaughterhouses, or all the services is provided for free by the government or by the district? This is very important to know if really they are taking consideration animal welfare themselves.
No, digamos que
No, the election of slaughterhouses where animals are taken is selected by their geographical location. So the farmers take them to the closest place to avoid paying taxes or to avoid paying, costs, the cost of the transfer, the fleet from the primary production center to the slaughterhouse. And if they don't have to pay much, they select a closest place, right? So if we include, a commercial incentive far away, they will go, far away, but it is not normally the case. It's just places which are closest to where they work. And also, this is, cheapest process, and that's why they do that. That's the choice. There are no government aids or subsidies. They pay to, to kill the animals, and the government does not pay anything, does not help at all. I have some question to both of you. And I'd imagine that even though we are thinking about big changes for the future, just for the fact of having worked in what you have worked, making people think, or just for the fact of talking with the interviewed people, just for that, I think that in the people you have interviewed, you have just caused or provoked a change. Did you feel that they changed in their perceptions while they were being interviewed?
It did help to encourage them to start thinking about what they were doing. The next part of our project did actually try to elicit behaviour change or encourage behaviour change on a very small scale. And I think by encouraging them to discuss it with you, we also encouraged them to discuss it with each other. And they then started to rely on other owners more when they had maybe a lame horse. And so I think that the discussion with others was also helpful, so long as what they're discussing is, I guess, towards positive welfare.
From my point of view, as I said before, I work for the swine industry, and I have access to the slaughterhouses of my area, which is quite big. And I have a very close relationship with some of the directors of the slaughterhouses of the area. And for me, it was not new, but I do have seen positive changes in their minds, but I think with a view to the future. I think that we need to persist and to repeat again and again the same ideas, and this will be my role to have more positive results in the future.
But we've finished with a very positive note, so I think that's brilliant. Thank you so much to the two of you for being here, and to Laura as well for participating. And we are going for lunch now, right? Remember that you can vote for your best presentations at the end of the conference. These three are not included, but all the other oral and short awesome presentations, as well as the posters, the best ones, or the most voted ones, will have a prize at the end of tomorrow. So if you especially like one, then just take a note of it. And the posters can be seen outside where we had coffee. And we are going to have lunch over there as well. And we are coming back at 2, so quick lunch for Spanish standards.